There is something powerful about dreaming, of setting the vision, the goal. Whether it is in our personal life, the life of our family or household, or the community in which we live, or even within our country and the world. We look forward to something, a way that the world and life might be. As we've talked about over the course of the last couple of weeks, John in Revelation creates a vision, a hope, a plan for how the world might be, both here on earth and into the ages of ages. And there is a richness for this. And today we hear more of that vision, more of that excitement brewing within John. That in the midst of his own captivity and his own life, there are new things that are going to happen. And he shares this vision of the holy city, this holy of holies, where there is a gate, but it is never closed, where the sun and the moon shine brightly, where the multitudes of people gather, where there is no more crying or tears. The wailing is gone, the warfare. And there in their midst is God in all of God's glory, and there is this river running through the city, this holy river of life and of healing. It is a profound vision that we encounter in Revelation, and perhaps it speaks to us in our living, that we encounter this new way of dreaming, of looking towards the future. And maybe our vision isn't quite the same as John's. Maybe as we think of our living here on earth or the heaven that is before us, maybe our vision is slightly different. But let's tap into his thinking for just a moment. At the beginning of the Bible, in Genesis, we have the story of the sea, the chaos, and life takes form within and through that. And then throughout Scripture, this chaos continues as we hear the stories of the sea and the people living there. And now in this end vision, there is this river. It is set up in contrast to chaos. That instead of all of that chaos that has been, there is going to be a place of newness. The calm enters in. Healing flows through the people. And there the people gather. The gates never shut. The waters flowing freely, wonderfully. It becomes a source of hope, but it also draws us back into our everyday living. And that becomes one of the wonderful things as we tie this text with the two other texts today, the first lesson and the gospel. For we have these wonderful images of the gates and the water. The gates and the water, and who gathers there. And then it leads us back into the dream, into the hope. Take with me for a moment this woman, Lydia, a mother of the church, described, as I mentioned to the children, as the first convert in Europe. But she is a Gentile, and even though she has some connection to this Hebrew God and is considered a worshiper of this Hebrew God, Yahweh, she still is outside of the immediate community. And so she gathers with her household at the river. She gathers there outside of the gates. Now, we also need to recognize that during this time there is controversy brewing. Those who are in the synagogue and are Jewish are struggling with those who are still kind of on the fringes of their community, but are proclaiming Jesus as the Messiah. They're not sure what to make of it. And they're trying to figure out, can they live together peaceably? Are they one family? Or are they a different family? Where do they fit? And so the conflict is bubbling up, and the disciples end up outside of the gate, along with this woman and her household. And they see in her a profound witness of love and of worship. And it is there that they tell their stories. And they hear her stories. This trader or peddler of purple cloth. Imagine for a moment her hands with the dye on them from the cloth that has been made. Imagine her stature. We know that she is named as the leader of the household. We don't know if she is a widow or someone whose marriage has fallen apart, or maybe she was never married. Maybe she has inherited money, or maybe she is struggling to make ends meet. We don't know the answers to those questions, but she sits there with her household at the river, and she hears again of God's love made known for her, and then testifies to this, sharing in that rich experience. There at the gate, conversion and hope takes root in a small, vital household and community. At the other end of the spectrum, we have a man who has been waiting at the gates for 38 years. Imagine his life not being able to move or to move quickly, depending on the alms of others, perhaps not really having his own community, struggling with what it means to be here on this earth at all. And the story for him is that there is this pool right there in front of them. And as the legend goes, that once a day, the angel of God comes and stirs the pool. And the first one into the pool receives healing. But he is so slow or incapacitated that he, over the course of 38 years, has never been the first one into that pool. He has his struggles. He has his doubts. And then this one, Jesus, enters the picture. And Jesus begins a conversation, a relationship, if you will, with this man. Trying to figure out, what is it for him that he needs? And the man tells his story about not making it into the pool, about his inability to walk or walk fast enough.